I find it amazing, disappointing, ironic about how the perception of the teacher's role has changed over time. In yesteryear, decades ago, when we imagined the role of a teacher, we thought about a teacher in the front of the classroom, students circled up around him or her, them imparting their knowledge, imparting their wisdom, reading stories, engaging students in lessons. And when they walked out of the classroom, they were revered for producing the next generation of productive citizens for this country. And now, when we think about the profession, we're so jaded by what we see in the media that we conjure up images of teachers behaving badly. And I know you know the stories, so I'm not going to share them with you. Students behaving badly, lack of respect, and unfortunately, lack of pay. Neither depiction, neither account truly summarize what an educator's role really is, nor summarizes all of what they do. Teachers are not only responsible for grading papers, lesson planning, parent conferences, following individual education plans, following behavior plans, writing behavior plans, after-school meetings, professional development, professional learning communities, collaborative planning, differentiating lessons for all the different learners to meet all the different needs. Teaching after school, tutoring, mentoring your children, and coaching your children in their sports. But at the end of the day, they're not judged on the majority of what they're doing. They're judged on the academic performance of kids. But we know all those other things are so critically important. In my experience, I've spent the last 11 years of my career working in communities of poverty. And if you count my personal life, that will be my entire life of working in communities of poverty. Because I came from a background that's very similar to the students in which I serve now. In communities of poverty, far too often, I see and I hear stories of kids telling me that when they come to school the night before, they didn't sleep that much. And you think, well, they didn't sleep, maybe in communities of poverty, maybe there was ambulances or sirens, but it's actually the opposite. I hear kids tell me that at 3 a.m. in the morning, when they hear sirens, that's when they get their best sleep. Because they know that those sirens symbolize that whatever is taking place in the neighborhood is going to cease, and it's going to stop, and it's being taken care of. So that's when they get their sleep. I see kids too often come to school, and the highlight of their day is eating breakfast and going to lunch. Eli Komarov describes poverty as like a punishment for a crime you didn't commit. And if I'm talking about poverty and it doesn't resonate with where you're from or what your story is, maybe there is something that will. There's a study called ACEs, or Adverse Childhood Experiences. It's the largest study that has ever been conducted on the impact of adversity on a child. Things like growing up in a home where there's domestic violence, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, living in a home where your parents are experiencing a divorce or going through a separation, living in a home where drugs are abused, living in a place where you go multiple nights without eating, being homeless. All those are factors that actually equate to some of the same outcomes that poverty may have. In this study, they find that people who experience ACEs, or people who experience an abundance of ACEs especially, have premature death as an adult. There's a direct correlation between adversity as a child and your life expectancy. And if you have adverse childhood experiences early enough, then it increases your chance of poor brain development, an increase of ADHD, asthma, and other poor health outcomes. So how do schools respond when you're held accountable for all the things I mentioned previously, and a child walks in with multiple adverse childhood experiences and may also be living in poverty? What I've found is there are solutions, but the solutions have to be grounded in some of these things. It has to be student-centered. You have to put the students first. It can't be about a partnership, a leader. It can't be about the adults in the situation. It has to be about students and what's best for them. You have to operate or create systems that are open. In a closed system, you exhaust your resources. There's only a limited knowledge base. So you have to be willing to partner. You have to be willing to open your doors and allow others to come in and assist you. You have to operate under shared values and beliefs. Whatever system you create has to align with what your goal is, and you have to have authentic collaboration. Collaboration is not 5 or 6 people coming to the table to share their ideas and walking away. But authentic collaboration occurs when 5 or 6 people come together and they create something that could not have been created if they wouldn't have come together. So when we look at responding to poverty, responding to ACEs in schools, we have to create equitable and trauma-informed ecosystems, not systems that act apart or in isolation from one another, but systems that act together. And so the first type of system that is absolutely necessary in this job or in this mission of responding to the baggage that our students bring into school is equity. There are some examples of equity fighting systems right here in Greenville. One example is TEDxGreenville. It's a partnership between Greenville, the schools, is a partnership between local health hospitals, is a partnership between mental health services and other agencies. And what it provides is school-based health clinic twice a week in our schools. So that when students are injured, students experience an asthma attack, students have some type of medical issue, that issue does not go unchecked. But they can go to the health clinic in the school to be seen and then go back to class. It provides opportunities like summer learning where students aren't sliding back. This partnership of equity provides understanding and knowledge to the educators so that they understand when that child is not performing because they're hungry, to be able to get them their needs. This system operates under the basis that academic performance, behavior referrals, and course performance all lead to being off track to graduate on time. So in this system, we've done it for a few years, and we start to realize we see the gains, but we want to see more gains. Why aren't we seeing more gains? And it's because we realize when a kid is hungry, a kid's not eating, something medically is going on, of course they're not learning. Now we've provided them with these things. These are things that all kids deserve. All kids deserve mentorship. All kids deserve an adult that cares. And again, it's not just in communities of poverty, but it may be in a family where a divorce is occurring. Parents may be emotionally detached at the time. So when a child receives a referral and they go home, those things may not be being met in the way that they have been in a functional, responsive home. The other piece, our school came together, our teachers came together, and we said, we got to do something. We've got to create a trauma-informed system. And in that trauma-informed system, we looked at 3 pieces: instruction, restoration, and reflection. What does that mean? What that means is that in a functional, responsive home, when a child receives a referral, they go home, a parent may say, let's sit down and talk about why you hit your peer today. And they tell them, next time this happens, come to me. Next time this is about to happen, go to your teacher, go to a mentor, go do something, breathe. When they ask them to reflect on what they've done, they may say, you're mowing the lawn for a week. You are on punishment for a week. I need you to reflect on what you've done. And then, you know what else? You need to write an apology letter to that family or to that child or to that teacher for your actions. So those kids are in a cycle of being trauma-informed because it's happening at home. Their parents are responding, their families are responding, their guardians are responding. And what we found is that's not always happening with the kids in our schools. The referrals don't make a difference. And I recently heard a solicitor say, you can't convict someone out of their drug abuse. Well, guess what? You can't referral or discipline someone out of their behavior issues. You have to do the work behind it. In our system, we've created opportunities for students, like creating mindful moments in the morning, where students breathe in and they breathe out. In the afternoon, they breathe in and we breathe out as a school, and we speak positive messages into them. We've created a mindful room where students go and have an opportunity to go to a space that has been specially created for them. Teachers can go in this space too, where they can reflect on what's happening, they can cool down. We've also created opportunities for our students, a specially trained group of our students of teachers to sit with students to go through this process when they're in trouble. We have so much work to be done. There are so many things that are being done to respond to poverty and ACEs in schools. But what I do implore you to do is to never devalue the worth of an educator. Never devalue the worth of an educator. There's so much work being done, not just teaching and learning, the academics. And what I call for you to do today is that if you have a child at school, a local school, go and mentor at that local school. Empower yourselves. Know that you, as one individual, can make a difference in a child's life. All it takes is one. That's what all the research indicates, is if a child has one caring adult in their lives, they can change the course and trajectory of their outcomes. So please, go mentor, go tutor. And even if you go and share research about ACEs or poverty or about things that are going on in that community, you can change your circle of influence and you can change society. Our teachers do so much, but we need the support from the community as well. And again, if you don't remember anything else about this talk, remember to never devalue the worth of an educator. Thank you.